Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Lee Grant and welcome to another leak coding video. We are continuing our search in binary search. So we're continuing our progress in binary search. There we are. So let us just jump right into it. I think normally I try to do easies here because I've been having a little bit of difficulty with binary search, but today I think I am going to try to conquer my first medium in binary search. So if we look here, this number 4, that one's a hard, not touching that one. This one right here, number 33, that's a medium. That's our first medium. Let's go for it. Okay, myself back up here, and let's get started. All right, number 33, search in rotated sorted array. Okay. There is an integer array nums sorted in ascending order with distinct values. Okay, so we have this nums, it's a list. Now, it is sorted in ascending order, meaning 0, 1, 2, 3, or 0, 5, 10, 22, right? Like the numbers don't need to be consecutive, but they are ascending. Now the other thing is with distinct values, so you don't have that 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 5, 8. So you have all unique values in this list. Okay. Prior to being passed to your function, nums is possibly rotated at an unknown pivot index, k. Okay. So before nums comes into my search function, it has possibly been rotated at a unknown pivot index, so such that the resulting array nums of k plus 1 dot 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 in minus 1 and then nums of 0 nums of 1 nums of k. Okay, so k right here is like that pivot location, right? And so as you can see here, this k, this nums of k, is now at the first index of our array. So let me kind of put this into here. So nums is going to be equal to, and initially it's going to be something like this. So let's say 3, 4, 6, 9, and 88. Okay, but things get all mixed up, and now we have nums, which is going to be equal to, and now let's say that the pivot location is this one right here. So now we have 6, 9, 88. Okay, that it corresponds to k right here. That's the pivot location. So k is going to be 0, 1, 2. So k is 2. Now nums of k is that 6. That's why I put the 6 there. So we have k and then k plus 1. What's that? That's that 9, right? All the way to, let's see, nums of n minus 1. What's that? That is the last element in the list. So that's at 88. So bam, bam, bam. And then you start at the original index. So you kind of just loop back around. So you have 3 and 4, and there's 6. So that's the way that things kind of go all the way back to the right before the pivot location. So you have this array, and then it gets pivoted some distance, and all of those values kind of just swing back to the original. Okay, so that's what it's talking about here. Given the array nums, after the possible rotation and an integer target, return the index of target if it is in nums, or -1 if it is not in nums. You must write an algorithm with log of n runtime complexity. Okay, so what is this target? So I'm trying to figure out what, okay, given an array nums, yep, after the possible rotation and an integer target. So that we're given nums, but this is after it actually had its pivot operation. return the index of target if it is in nums, or -1 if it is not in nums. Okay. I guess I think I understand the question. How to do it is a different aspect. I'm not sure about that yet. I'm not sure about how to do it, but I think I understand kind of what it's asking. So we want to find 0, and we want to find the index which 0 occurs at. So right here, it's going to be here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's why we return 4. Okay? So now, normally, if this was not pivoted, I could just do that easy binary search and be say, is it larger than or less than? But in this case, I can't do that. Okay. If I go into the middle, what? So the way that I'm thinking about this problem right now is if I do binary search the way that I kind of know about it, what is there some way I can modify this such that it actually does fit the unique situation, which is here? So I'm going to come to this problem. I'm going to look at the middle, which is the 7, okay? And I want to find 0. Now, zero could be on the left or the right because things are pivoted. Is that true? Well, what I'm thinking is if I look at the bounds of the array, this also does give me some information. So what I'm thinking is if I have this 7 here, and 7 is larger than 2, so there, and 0 is between, or is less than 2, so therefore I know that it's within this bound. If I was looking for 6, I would see that 6 is less than 7, okay, because I'm looking at the 7, and my other bound is 4, and 6 is greater than 4, so I know that this is going to be increasing here, right? What if I'm here, I have, let's say that I'm looking for 7 here. So, so my target is 7, and I'm looking at this 0. Okay. I look at the edge to the right and see that it is 2. So I know that it is not going to be in this location. I know that it's going to be in this location. So then I can search like 5 and then say 5 is greater than, or sorry, I was searching for 7. That's the target. 7 is greater than 5, and at that point my bound would be 7, so I can kind of return that. But I'm trying to think of the logic, how the two, I know that now that I'm starting to talk it through, I see that there is something to do with the bounds, and if you have the bounds, you have the information that you need. So I'm gonna start typing stuff and see what I can come up with. So is the length of nums. Okay. Well, now while left is less than right, and it might be equal to, let me say it like that, question mark, because I don't know yet. Do we need that equal sign right there? Sure. Like this. Is it? Who knows? Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to find the middle point of left and right. Okay, so left equal, no, sorry, mid equals left plus right divided by 2. Okay, so we found the middle point. We found this middle point. We're looking for 0. Now, I want to see, does this middle point, is it bigger or smaller than the target? And I want to see if it's within, like, this range, right? So, if nums of mid is greater than, so I could write out what I actually said during the explanation, but I'm wondering, because that's going to be 4 different cases, right? Like, I'm trying to not just have a whole bunch, like a lot of if statements, but I can't really think of how to actually do it without a whole bunch of if statements. So I guess I'm going to try to find, so val left equals nums at left, val right equals nums at right. So I can get my bounds. And left and right is going to be changing. So I need to constantly update that dynamically, right? Oops. So if nums is greater than target and target is less than val right, okay, what do we do in this case? So this, I believe, is, I'm looking here, I'm trying to find 0. So 0 is my target. I found 7. So 7 is greater than my target. And the target is less than the right value, this value here. So that means that it's somewhere within this range. So I want to actually update my, left pointer to only be looking at these ones, right? So I want to say left equals mid. Now here's another one, question mark plus 1. And why I have this like question mark here is just because it gives me a syntax error. and I am unsure about this plus, and I'm unsure about this equals. So I'm just like purposefully putting a syntax error there so that I am able to look at it and identify like, hey, I need to focus on that. Okay, so I change value, I increase the value of left, okay? And I'm thinking, do I need to evaluate the 7? No. I guess the first thing that I could do is if nums of mid equals to target, then what we do is just return mid. We return that index. Okay, so now we know that that we didn't find, once we come here, we didn't find our target yet at midpoint. So I know that this is not my target, 7. I don't want to check this index again, right? So I'm thinking that that's why I'm going to be looking at the next index over. So left is now going to be mid plus 1. I think that should be correct. Okay. But that's something that I always fail at with these binary search problems is what's the plus, what is the equals up here, and I always get caught up in my my problem of actually thinking through all of this. I have some misconception in my head. That's why it's really good that I'm like focusing in on this binary search topic. So I think it's going to be plus 1 because I don't want this 7 here. And so I don't want to look at this index again. And I know that it's not part of any of these, okay, because I've ruled that out. Now, likewise, if I'm here, I'm looking at 7, and my target is, I don't know, 5, right? So target is now greater than my left value. Okay. So if nums of mid is greater than target and target is greater than left val left, okay, that corresponds to the case that I just mentioned. We have 7 here. I'm looking for 5, so I know it's somewhere between here. So I think I want to keep my left intact, and I want to change my right. So right equals mid minus 1. And I feel very bad about this because every time I have a minus 1 and a plus 1, I always get it wrong. It's always like, oh, no, you can't do that. Why? I don't know. But it's just something that I've observed. And so I'm going to guess what's going to happen is I'm going to try to submit this. It's not going to accept it. I'm going to feel depressed about that. But I will have to memorize kind of this. It's a good problem for me to really look at and continue to try to memorize and put into my memory. So I'm worried. I don't like the fact that I can't just think of it, but anyways, whatever. Oops. Okay, so now if what? If nums of mid is less than target and target is less than val right. So I just kind of like inverted this one. So I'm trying to get all of those 4 cases. And then Now let me figure out like what does this actually correspond to on my list here. So nums of mid is greater than target. So well, target is the smallest one. Let's say target is actually 7. Let's say target is 7, okay? And nums of mid, okay? Let's say mid here is the 6. I'm looking at mid and target is greater. Okay. And then I say target is greater than right value, and right value is 2. So it corresponds to this case. So I know that I want to look somewhere here, right? So I'm going to say mid equals, or no, left. So I'm going to say left equals mid plus 1. Okay. Now the opposite case is if nums of mid is less than target and target is greater than val left. That should be the inverse of that. Okay, so now I'm looking here. What would this correspond to? I'm looking here. So nums of mid is greater than target. So I'm looking at 1. My target is, let's just say 7. Okay, my target is 7. I'm looking here. And then target is greater than value of the left, which is 4, which is true because it's 7. So I know that I want to look somewhere in here. So I'm going to change my right pointer to be mid minus 1. Okay, so right equals mid minus 1. And now my question is, do I actually have this equals here? So let's think about that. Yeah, I think I do want equals because if we like target in, like left and right are both equal to this value, well, that's a valid case. So I do want to check that. I want to say like, hey, is this 7 legitimate or is this 7 not legitimate? And if it is, I want to actually go through that because this case right here might actually hit and we just return that mid value. So let me, that should be equals. And I also know that we're not going to get an infinite loop because if my logic was correct, at least one of these areas should hit, or one of these if cases should hit every single time I iterate through this while loop. And if you notice, left is increased, right? So left is always getting bigger, right is always going to be smaller, is always getting smaller. So eventually we are going to hit the case where left is not greater than or equal to right. So, and now I should, if we never hit this case that they're equal to each other, I should be able to return -1. Should we press that submit button? I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it's because I always get mixed up with these plus and minuses, and every time I have a +1 and a -1, it always fails. Likewise, I regularly, it's like a 50-50 chance. I almost like guessing. Is the equal sign there? Is it not? Even when I consider it, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, I'm confident about it. I'm going to get it. But then it just, bam, punches me in the face. Okay. Come on. I'm also worried about the logic. Like, does it actually? Is there some like outside the bounds of the array? Oh, because this is the number of indexes. Okay, whatever. Judging. Okay, it's taking a long time. That usually means a timeout error, and so we probably have. Oh, no, it wasn't a timeout error. It's just wrong. Expected for. Shouldn't it keep honing in? Because obviously what I could do to fix this specific problem is just check the value of left and right, and if it is, return their respective indices. That's pretty easy. That would just be like if nums of, or actually I have that value right there. If val left equals target, return left. If val right equals target, return right. Okay, so I could do that to solve this issue, but from my understanding, I thought that it would just target in on that 4 value and eventually return it. So I'm going to press submit, see if it fixes this problem, but we still need to investigate this one because it shows that there's an error in the logic, I think. Okay, yeah, so there's a complete error in this world. Okay, I'm just going to delete that because I don't think it should have been even necessary. So what I'm going to get back to that case where it failed and try to, oh, I should have pressed submit. But anyways, I'm going to try to get back to that case where it failed, and so that I can see the test case which it failed for. So it was that 4. And then I'm going to walk myself through it and see if I can see what the problem was. Okay. So I'm going to be looking at 7, and then my target is 0. Oh, okay, target is 0, so it really should have. So here I'm probably going to be looking at 7 left. All of these are indices, yeah. Okay. So 7 divided by, or sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 indexes. Okay. 7 divided by 2, integer division is 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So I am indeed looking at this index, okay? Is it equal to the target? No. So I don't come in here. If nums of mid, so that's 7, is greater than target, Target is 0, so no, that's not the case. Nums of mid is less than target. Yeah. And target, which is 0, is greater than right value. No. So 7 is less than 0. Yeah. And target and 0 is greater than value. Should that be value is should this be, hold on, target, which is 0, is less than value right, which value right is 2. So this one should have hit here. And now I can say left is going to be equal to mid plus 1. So now I'm looking at this right here. So left is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Okay. Left is right there. And now I'm looking at these. Then I come back up here. I do mid, and now mid is going to be this 1. Okay. Is 1 equal to the target? No, it's not. Is 1 greater than the target? Yes. Is the target smaller than the right value, which is 2? No, it's not. Is 1 greater than 0? Yes. Is the target, is 0 greater than the value on the left? Well, no, it's not greater. It's equal to. Okay. So no, this case doesn't hit. Oh, so none of the cases hit if it's on the edge. So I think I do actually need that. If target is equal to val left, return left, and if target is equal to val right, return right. But this also failed, right? It gave me like an infinite loop error. But in this case, I now know that none of these are going to be, the target is never going to be equal to the value left or the value right. So it should, and this is never going to be equal to either. So it should never, it should always go into one of these, right? But I still got an infinite loop. So yeah, it does. What about if I just do like run? Does that still give me a, sometimes run does those smaller test cases and can give you more insight? Nah. Okay. Well, the way that I'm going to be dealing with this is I wasn't able to get it. There we go. I couldn't get it. So take it to GPT and try to do an autopsy. So here is my solution to this problem. Here. Okay, so yeah, wasn't able to get it. Now, I guess do the autopsy, try to figure out like why I failed, why I wasn't able to get it, what my logic problem was. Kind of sucks because, again, like binary search shouldn't really be a difficult problem, but apparently I can't get it. There are some logical issues in your code that prevent it from working correctly. Let's correct and optimize it. Yeah, okay, great. Left. Yep, that's what I did. Okay, okay, okay. So, determine which half is sorted. So if nums of left is greater than nums of mid, the left half is sorted, else the right half is sorted. I want to figure out like why my solution failed. So before I actually go and look at the actual answer. Redundant comparisons. Redundant. Incorrect pointer update. Your conditions for updating left and right pointers are a bit mixed up. Specifically, the logic for determining which half is sorted and where to update pointers is not correct. Multiple redundant checks for mid value. The condition blocks checking if mid is greater than target twice, and updating left and right pointers can cause incorrect pointer shifts. Target, okay. If nums of left is less than or equal to, so I'm looking at the left hand side. Okay. And if that's less than nums of mid, okay. So trying to put that into like a concrete example or something. Your left hand side is smaller than the value that you're currently looking at. So it's like 0 is here, or 1 is here, right? And then I'm looking at the index of 7. So 2, or whatever, 1 to 7. Okay. So I know that I guess I don't see how this works because I'm only looking at the portion between the midpoint and the left-hand side, but that doesn't mean that the value can't be on the right-hand side, because there's no guarantee where the pivot is. Left. Okay, so the left half is sorted. If num's left is less than or equal to target, so there's like a so there's a three-way comparison here. Nums of, well, first off, before I investigate this too much, I'm just gonna see, like, does this solution even work? Like, is this a valid solution? Yeah, it is a valid solution. It's a valid solution, but I don't understand it. The left half, okay, so right here, the left half is sorted. Nums evaluated at left is less than or equal to target. And I'm also noticing this is less than or equal to target. This is just less than target. I really do not like binary search. Like, I legitimately hate this topic. I think, like, or not dynamic programming, whatever, the backtracking. Like, I like backtracking better than this. I really do not like binary search problems at all. I don't know why this topic specifically has been so overwhelmingly difficult for me. Although backtracking was really extremely difficult as well, so they were both. But, so I guess what I'm going to have to do is I copied this. I'm going to essentially print out this. I'm going to take a screenshot of this solution, memorize its form, and try to think about it for a day and just go through it, try to understand this, try to put this solution idea or this solution like format in my head and try to understand like even what's going on, like why would this be the case, like how. So moving forward, I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know how to conquer this binary search topic because I've been working on it for a really long time now. And I just continuously can't get it. I can't understand it. It's confusing. I always mess this up. And this is something which everyone seems like, most people I feel like are able to get binary search. Like, binary search is not a difficult problem. It is not something that I should be struggling with this much. And it's very concerning that I am struggling so much with it, and I'm not getting better. That's the other thing. Like, I don't know. So, yeah. I'm gonna look into it. This solution, I'm gonna try to understand it. I'm gonna try to understand why I'm able to just look at if this side is sorted or that side is sorted, and I don't need to really care about the pivot location. That's something. Okay, so I have the solution here. Whatever, like, let me, I guess I can just go like this to the description here. So I'm looking at 7. Okay. Then I determine if nums of left is, which left is 4, is less than my midpoint, which is 7. So is that the case? 4 is less than 7. So I do hit here, and that determines if the left half is sorted. Okay, I guess. But again, this has nothing to do with my target, right? What if my target was, so I'm looking at 7 here and 4. So this half is sorted. Okay. But what if my target was 1, right? Like, well, my target is 0, so it's already not in the left half, right? Oh, so I guess that's why I do this. So what does it mean if it's not sorted? I guess that would be this case, right? So nums of left is 4, is greater than, or is less than or equal to mid, which is, I put it as 0. So that's not the case. It's not sorted. So therefore I come here, and now I say if well, I guess in this case mid would have triggered, but let's say our target was this 1, I guess. So nums of mid, which is 0, is less than target, is less than target, which target I said was 1, so it's not less than target. So that means I need to move right over by 1. Okay. So well, okay. So this is the part that's like adjusting our mid left or right, and this gives us some information, but I don't understand why that information matters. Which half is sorted? The right half is sorted. The left half is sorted. But the pivot could have been at any location. So why does it matter? if, like, it seems like mid is just arbitrary, and the pivot location could be anywhere. So you can't say, oh, the left half is sorted, because the left half could be partially sorted, or the right half could be partially sorted, because mid is just arbitrary each time. Well, so I guess the only method forward is, as I described, I am going to try to look at the solution, keep putting it in my head, trying to understand how is this actually working, why is it working, what's even going on here. Spending some time with it, wrestling with this idea, not giving up on this idea, and then we're going to have to revisit this problem, and hopefully at that point we'll be able to understand it a little bit better. So yeah, that's kind of my plan for how I am going to go about this problem. Anyways, thank you guys for. Okay, so actually, before I say goodbye to everyone, um, I remember when I was doing backtracking, or not backtracking, yeah, backtracking. I struggled with it for like 3 months, and then I said, "This is ridiculous. I hate this so much. I am not going to stop until I complete backtracking. I am going to dedicate every like moment of my free time to backtracking. I'm going to be thinking about backtracking. When I go to sleep, I'm going to be reviewing backtracking in my head. I'm going to be thinking about this concept. I'm going to be looking at as many Leetcode problems backtracking as I can. When I have a little bit of spare time, I'm going to be looking at solutions. I'm going to be constantly thinking, like, as much time as I can spend on backtracking, I am going to do that. I am going to focus on it. I might have to do something similar with binary search. Unfortunately, right now I'm so busy with all of these other life events right now. Like, obviously I have work and everything, but then trying to uh, just work with a lot of the moving with. Susie will be going up to Seattle soon, and trying to get a lot of. She still has one more term of class, so there's still a lot of like life events that we need to actually like work on right now. Just not life events, but like, you know, uh, random things that we need to accomplish before she starts work and before the graduates, 'cause she graduates in one term, and a whole bunch of stuff. So trying to get all of this, but also dedicating time to Leetcode. I'm so I think I need to just say I am going to dedicate as much time to this as I can. I don't know if I have the ability to right now, though. Anyways, so I'm going to try to find time. I'm going to try to move forward with that. Anyways, yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow with another Leetcoding video. As I said, like, I'm going to be continuing to do at least one Leetcode every single day. That is my commitment. I am doing that. I will not stop. I am going to do that. Now, how am I going to find time to do some of the other extracurricular studying, right, outside of these videos, that's on it, to be completely honest, that's a little bit of a problem right now, right? Like I get off work, it's whatever, it's like 7. When I arrive home, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I don't want to do anything. I come home and I'm hungry and I sleep, right? Like I sleep for whatever 2 hours and then I get up and do a Leetcode video and then I go back to sleep. And obviously need to I can't ignore my personal relationships, right? Like so trying to find time for everything. It just seems like a overwhelming, like daunting task. Honestly, that there's so many topics. There's so many topics. Like okay, just binary search, but I still have to do greedy and sorting and dynamic programming, and I've already done depth first search. Okay, binary search, that's what I'm working on right now. Breadth first search, similar to depth first search. Okay, whatever. 2 pointers. I think that should be kind of well. That should be easy, but binary search should also be easy, right? Like all of like there's backtracking and union finds and tries, divide and conquer, combinatorics, queues, recursions. Like, there's so much. There's so much. And this is just Leetcode. This isn't even like the concepts that I need to actually be a software engineer. This is just Leetcode. This is just, this is like the worthless part of software engineer. This won't help you. Well, maybe, I mean, it helps you maybe be quick on your feet, like programming. I don't know, but it's like, I, it also helps kind of like maybe clear the cobwebs out of your head kind of thing. Like, you know, makes you be more logical, maybe I can say that. Um, but it's not like JavaScript or Java or actually being able to work on a large scale project. I have none of that experience at all, at all, at all. So how am I going to get that? That's another overwhelming and daunting task. And it's like if I dedicate all of my time to Leetcode, ignore all of my personal like connections, right? Like ignore Susie, ignore all of the other commitments that I have, and I just do my work, which is like I'm an embedded systems engineer, kind of like firmware engineer, right? So I do work and then I come home and then I study actual software engineering. But I don't study software engineering. I instead study Leetcode, right? Like I don't know. I'm just feeling very like overwhelmed with the situation of there's just so much for me to learn. And like not only JavaScript, not only Java, not only like it's also the thing of like I've never been on a large scale project before. At work, I'm my own island, right? Like I do my project and I am the sole owner of all of my projects. All of if I write code, it's not high level code, it's the low level kind of like embedded systems code. And it's more like talking to registers and doing like communication protocols, like writing my own drivers for various like specific communication protocols, and then troubleshooting those protocols, like using an oscilloscope to actually look at the electrical signal being sent. Like it's very, the skill set for embedded is very different than the skill set for actually software engineering. So these two things are almost like there's a like in a Venn diagram, there's a little bit of connection, like a little bit of overlap, but not much. And so I'm like, how do I get that software development skill set of working on a large project with multiple people, uh, dealing with it's like I don't even know what software engineering actually is, and the only avenue by which I'm able to even understand what software engineering is I talk to Susie and I say, hey, like, what should I be studying? And she tells me, oh, JavaScript, Java, you should do this and that. So I like try to kind of like follow her directions because she's the only person that I know who's an actual software engineer. And from what she describes to me about software engineering, it seems completely different than what I'm doing. So, how do I get there, and how do I get there in a time that is not 10 years kind of thing, right? Like, I'm not trying to like exaggerate or something. I'm just saying, like, okay, if I work as hard as I can, how do I make sure that I do it in a reasonable time as well? Like, as of right now, I'm just looking at it and I'm just like completely and totally overwhelmed with the prospects of everything that I need to learn, all of these concepts. And then the other thing, obviously, is think about this: like, if I gain work experience as an embedded systems engineer, I am going to be companies are going to be very hesitant to hire me as an entry level software engineer because they're going to say, "What are you doing with 4 years as you already have 4 years of work experience as an embedded systems engineer? Why would we hire you as a entry level software engineer? This doesn't even make sense, right?" So as of right now, I have 1 year. I just hit my 1 year mark as a firmware engineer, and I'm starting to worry about that. Like, okay, if I stay for 3 or 4 more years, right? Like, is that something? If I get promoted at my current company into mid-level, obviously it's just 1 year right now, but let's say that like 2 years into the future or 3 years into the future, I don't know how long the that process takes. Most of the people at my company are more like senior or principal engineer, so I don't know exactly what the process normally is. But let's say 2 years out from now, 2 years out, I become a mid level, and then now I will to go back to entry level. I don't think any company would necessarily be like, yeah, let's give you like, they would say, oh no, there's something wrong with this. There may be something wrong with you, right? Meaning me. Why are you going back? That's what they might be looking at it. So that's something else that I'm concerned about is like it feels like a completely overwhelming and daunting number of topics that I need to learn. And as I just said, like this is like if I dedicate all my time just Leetcode, I'm not learning the other important aspects in software engineering. And if I spend like 4 more years as an embedded systems engineer, I'm very concerned about, would my target companies that I'm really excited, like, would they be like, well, w- essentially the door is now closed to software development, and I can never break into that. And what Susie was telling me is, oh, just apply as a mid-level. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because if I become a mid-level as an embedded systems engineer and then try to go into mid-level software development, these skills, as I said, are completely separate. So the expectation on me as a mid-level software developer is going to be significantly higher than an entry level, but my skill is actually at the entry level position. Essentially, it is at the new grad position, right? Like, I don't have any skills. I don't have any experience as a software developer. All of my skills are in electrical engineering, in computer engineering, in embedded systems engineering, not in software development. So this is something that I'm very concerned about trying to, that's why I keep talking about, okay, how do I make sure that I'm doing things efficiently? And how do I make sure that I'm actually learning the concepts that I need to actually improve myself and become a software engineer, a software developer. Yeah, so that's kind of what I am. That's where I'm headed. That's what I'm trying to do. I know it's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a hard journey, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep moving forward. I will keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And then, yeah, eventually things will hopefully turn out. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know the future. But yeah, so if you want to join this journey with me, subscribe to this channel. I would love to have you here. And I will make sure that, as I promised, I'm not going to give up. That's something that I also feel pretty passionate about, is I think that going a long, or like, there's huge value in just not giving up, just continuing to push forward no matter how much you see like something like, I don't see the hope, or I don't know how I'm going to do it. Just like, don't give up. When I was in school, right, like I started at a community college. I was at Portland Community College. When I graduated high school, right, I had no idea I didn't even think I was going to get a degree. Are you kidding? I didn't have the money. How am I going to do that? So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to go to community college. So I started out at community college. Then I just didn't give up. I was able to finish the community college and transfer into a university, right? I mean, it took me a really long time. It literally took me 10 years. Literally, I graduated on my 10th year. I got my 4-year degree. I got my bachelor's degree on my 10th year after high school. But I got it. I didn't give up, you know? So I think there's value in like being a marathon runner as opposed to just a sprint. Now I want to be as efficient as possible. I want to be as direct as possible. Go, not waste any time. But I also see a huge value in just not giving up and continuing to learn. And I mean, yeah. So, anyways, yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. If you want, subscribe. And I'm gonna keep pushing forward. I'm gonna be doing these Leetcoding videos. have these things here where this one is JavaScript right here. So my goal is, do projects in JavaScript and Java, and I try to go and build these projects so that I can get some skills in software development. So if that's interesting to you, subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I will see you guys tomorrow.